We're live. We're live from Mexico. Hola, buenos dias. It's Terry and Josh and
Carol
coming to you live from the summit where we're wrapping up today, day 4. And it's been another amazing week to see the energy and enthusiasm, the laughter, the tears, the breakdowns, the breakthroughs. Fortunately, the progress. Yes, the progress, getting really clear on what your fellow yogapreneurs are going to be working on in 2025. And just some real key takeaways is when you get out of your environment, and it's amazing how much you can get done by just focusing on really diving into your business and really just identifying the things that need to happen, things that you need to do to move that needle forward or to move the needle. And what's interesting is that when you get here, when we find when people get here, and the same in coaching, is you think your problem or your thing you need to do is X. And then when you really start to look at it and you really start to analyze the data, and because coming to the summit, people had to have their KPIs ready, they had to bring their P&Ls with them. And when you really start to look at the data and the numbers, like, wait, it's not this it's not this what I was thinking. It actually turns out it's this, and I got to get this done. Kind of like I got to get A done before I can go to B. But I was already thinking I needed to do Z. So that to me is like always really illuminating. What do you think, Josh? I like
to pass the mic. Make sure we can't talk over each other at least. Yeah, not too much. Yeah, I think one of the things that people experience, and it's interesting this round because we have some people who are here for their very first time, and we have some people who are on their 5th year in a row or 6th year in a row. And so they're not going through entirely different experiences, but the speed at which they're arriving at some conclusions is obviously different. And that's just because you've been here before, you know what to expect or whatever. But to your point, even the people who've been here for 5 years, at dinner last night, we were talking about how, yeah, on day 1, they're like, this is the domino. I'm so absolutely sure this is the thing that I need to do, that I want to do, whatever. But then when they actually sit down and go to write it out and make a strategy for how you're going to accomplish that, they realize that's not the domino. It's not the thing that's actually going to be the highest impact. So the comment that I would make is, if you haven't been to the summit before, the whole concept that when we talk about dominoes and everything is the idea that like more than 80% of the growth of your business. Oh, Mara's jumping in here too. All right. More than 80% of the growth of your business is going to come from 20% of your like focal effort. Yeah. Not in time, but we started out the summit by making the comment, if you are spending time killing yourself, working hard in a lot of hours, and you're not growing, or you're going backwards, or you're staying in the same place, then you're working on the wrong thing. So I think there's an undervaluation in how powerful it can be to leave your normal environment and then figure out what is the high impact thing to do. Like, what are the critical things that are actually going to make the biggest difference for your business?
Yeah, it goes to the demonstration we did on day 2, I think it is. Yeah. So we talked about how it's really easy to get really bogged down in your daily tasks. I mean, there's a ton of things you can do in your yoga business. We always have more to do, fires to put out. And we lose sight of the big picture, and it's really helpful. And we've been, with that demonstration, if you put the big goals first, and then you start to think of the strategies behind that, start to work on those. And then finally the tasks, you're really set up for more success. And really going back to like, what is the most important thing? Look at those goals, and because tasks will build up and we will always be super busy, but be busy on the good thing. Oh, okay. Well, the actual demo, it is a visual. Yeah. So we identified goals being like the big rock, something huge you got to push over. And then we had pebbles to represent the strategies to propel you towards those goals. And then the tasks were sand, tasks and tactics. And when you always just put the tasks first, like you only have so much capacity in your day, in your week, in your life. So if you start with all the tasks and then you start to put the sand in first, for example, and then the pebbles, and then the rocks, the big rocks, nothing fits. It's overwhelming. It's too much. But when you keep the focus, the first thing is the goals, put that into the bucket of time, energy, etc. Then add the pebbles, those strategies, and then finally the tasks to go with it.
Shake it around.
You shake it a little bit, and then everything fits. So it was a really good visual, and I think it resonated with a lot of the folks here. So that's what we're going to try to do. Keep an eye on those goals and set forth all the tasks that need to be done to get them a really huge impact for 2025.
I would add that there's a recurring theme every day that spins off of this, which is around. Oh, no way, you're up next, dude. No, you can sit back down now. Yeah, yeah, you got to get in here too. We're not letting Mary off the hook this time. Yeah. the, the recurring theme here is the idea of the sand representing all of the minutia, and just the fact that like it's real easy to find that stuff. You will always have 100 bazillion things to do, but I think for a couple people over dinner, they were commenting last night that it hit hard when we were saying being busy is actually the number one indicator of laziness. And that stings. It's like a kind of a hard truth in there, because it's actually a form of procrastination where you're never not going to have a bunch of shit to do. But in fact, you can inadvertently, subconsciously create a situation in your business where you are keeping yourself busy doing a bunch of stuff, but you're not going anywhere. And so to the point of the big rocks, it's like, if all you did was put the big rocks in the bucket, you would fill up more of the bucket very quickly. So it's sort of like a major change in focus. I wanted to comment then as well on a manager track. So we're having the manager track this year, and the purpose of this is so that we can help the management team be prepared to, as the name is intended, to manage things, to be able to integrate the vision and to help move it forward and keep it going. Because the owner being in the visionary seat, actually, it's hard to be in the creative vision mind and then also like bring it back down to earth and say, cool, and now like this task leads to this, to pass it to this person, to whatever. And Mare's been helping me run it. So what do you feel like a takeaway from the manager track has been, feedback wise?
Well,
It's a very deep subject.
it is a very, very deep subject. And it's been a hot minute since I've been on the roundup. I think the biggest takeaway for the manager track, for the managers specifically, is that I feel like they're empowered to take on that responsibility and like realize that that person doesn't need to be, and really shouldn't be, the owner. And like it really opened their eyes at like how they can up level and be like, take on that responsibility and take on how to be a really powerful leader under the visionary, and like support them, like just as simple as giving a weekly KPI report, like this is where we're at, these are our numbers, and this is what I'm currently working on, and this is what I'm working on next. Like that can be such a huge relief for the owner, knowing that that person, their manager, the person that they go to for help and is really like their support system as well, can really help out in a really impactful way. And then the owners, I think, seeing that their managers are learning that here has been really impactful, and like it's relief almost for them, knowing that they're taking off a load of responsibility from them.
Yeah, it's a good call out. I would add to this, it's sort of the two sides of the same coin. Like a manager, you're a glorified administrative help. It's glorified VA. And I don't say that to sound harsh, to be rude, but rather like it's reality. So if you're actually managing something, it's like you have to have the oversight and drive things forward and hold people accountable and responsible to things. The interesting part was when we asked the managers, why are they a manager and why do they like being a manager? That was the reason. They wanted to manage things. It's just they had maybe disempowered themselves a little bit, and or weren't empowered by the owner. Neither of them on purpose. Like it just kind of calibrates that way. And it's, I think, because there's not a good narrative or example in the yoga industry normally. So you have to invent your own path. On the owner side too, there's a reluctance to be too transparent and to say too much and to be too open or to empower the manager too much, like because they don't know where the line is on those things. So just that clarity of like, no, the manager is here to manage things, and I'm here to be the vision and say this is what we're doing. And when you get really clear and then behave in that way, the speed at which you move in the video is crazy. This example I can say from here is every year it surprises me where I find personal stress in the summit. This year, it's like last night I was saying at dinner, I'm like, we're too far ahead. Like too many people have done too good of a job and have too much of their shit together. Like something must be fucked up. We must have missed something somewhere. But it's because they're all just doing a good job. They're just rocking. Yeah. All right. We're gonna cut this one pretty short today, but any other thoughts or major takeaways?
Of course I have. Because, I don't like to talk. Now, one of the things that, as you were talking, Josh, is we have, like Josh said, we have some people here for the first time, and we have people here for the first time that have had students for a really long time. And you often think that, when you have this business for 15, 20 years, that, oh, we've got this, we've got it dialed in. And then they start to peel back the layers and they realize, oh, I can make changes. And that there were a couple of long-term owners, first time, they're like, wow, I can make these changes. And it's about time I hired front desk, or about time I do this. So that to me was really gratifying to see, is some people, like, even after, I mean, Carol, you were that way when you first came to Summit. I mean, you had been running your business for years and years and had this huge like epiphany, right?
There's always more to learn. There's
Yeah,
always
always
like
more-
something you can get
Yeah.
from coming to the summit for sure,
Yeah.
even if you've owned your studio forever.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Cool.
it's great.
The last thing that came up at dinner last night, Caroline, we're talking with the crew that we were out with, and we were talking about, like, I don't even know what the word is for this, osmosis, but just being in the presence of other owners, the peer-to-peer conversation and stuff. Yes, but it's being in the presence and hearing conversations that are normalized, that aren't normalized in your own head yet. Like as a new owner, like, oh, it would be nice if I paid myself. And then you're sitting next to an owner that's like, I made $200,000 personally and had a profitable business on top of it in one location, and I'm only an hour away from you in the same market size. And they're like, what? So I think that's the other big takeaway, that it's never a surprise, but just that proximity in conversation, I think, is hyper valuable and empowering for people.
Oh, we're actually kind of on time.
We're kind of on time. We got to go do the last day of the summit. All right. Post your comments down below. What is it, if you were to come to a yoga business summit with 30 to 50 other yoga studio owners, where you're going to plan out your entire year, what would be the most impactful thing that you could be given at the summit, that you could learn at the summit, that you could get clarity at the summit? Maybe we'll add it to next year's docket.
Yeah.
All right. Peace.